Hey guys, welcome to another Magic the Gathering Battlebond video. Today is May 24th, 2018. It's preview season. We've got some great cards to talk about for the upcoming Battlebond set. So let's jump right in with our very first and last partner card. This is Blaring Recruiter and Blaring Captain. The Recruiter is white 2/2 Elf Warrior. It costs 1 white and 3 generic. You can create 1/1 white warrior creature tokens by paying 3 mana. That is 1 white and 2 generic as an activated ability. The Captain, on the other hand, is black for a 2/2 for 4 mana, 3 generic and 1 black. And whenever Blaring Captain attacks, attacking warriors get +1/+1 until the end of turn. This is an okay set of cards. It's not the greatest. I mean, they are uncommon, so you can't expect too much out of them. The Blaring Captain is the worst of the two, only because it requires the attack of a 2/2, which, as we all know, late game is going to be a little on the hard side. Just because there's just going to be enough things to kill it. Obviously, it's attacking as a 3/3, but there's going to be enough things going into combat to tussle with this thing, especially after turn 4, turn 5. So this its ability does not last long. That is, unless you give it some type of evasion, whether that's unblockable, flying, intimidate, something like that, to stop your opponent from actually blocking and killing it. Menace, would be okay. As a pseudo form of protection, but the Recruiter is really kind of the swan song here. I mean, you're paying 3 mana for a 1/1 warrior token, so yeah, that's kind of on the expensive side. But if you think about this, leave the 3 mana up with your removal spell in hand. If your opponent doesn't play something that requires that removal spell or action, you just create a 1/1 white warrior token, right, at the end of their turn, and just keep doing that until you've either built up a large enough army to attack in with the 3, bumping them up to 2/2s, obviously, with the Captain. But at the end of the day, those warriors, they're going to need a little bit more oomph than just the 2/2. So Trumpet Blast would be a great way to kind of finish them off. Obviously, then you are splashing a third color. But at the end of the day, the two sync up fairly well. It would be nice if whenever whenever at the beginning of your attack step, giving warriors +1/+1 would be slightly better than having to force the Captain to attack in. But at the end of the day, not too shabby. Let's continue moving on here. Next up, we've got white. This is probably my favorite card that was spoiled today. It's Brightling. It's a 3/3 for white, 1 generic at Mythic Rare. It's a shapeshifter. For those of you that were back in the Return to Ravnica days, Aetherling was a great card. And an excellent, card in Standard. Obviously, this card will not see the light of day as far as Standard is concerned because it's not legal. But if you open this up, it's a great card in Limited, in Sealed, and as far as the Soul Sisters decks out there, this is a great addition. So you can pay. It's got a couple different abilities. You can pay white, and it gains Vigilance till end of turn. Not too bad. You can pay white, and you can give it lifelink until end of turn. Even better. You could also pay white and return it to your hand, so that's great. Gets around removal really well. You can recast things and make multiple triggers on your enter the battlefield effects. Or you can pay 1 generic, and it gets +1/-1 or -1/+1 until end of turn. So obviously you can't go huge on this thing. You can do that twice, and it'll be a 5/1, or you can do it twice, and it'll be a 1/5. So it's very versatile when it comes to those types of things. Giving your creature vigilance at instant speed is not going to do you squat. So that's unfortunate that it got a vigilance effect. First Strike would have been, in my opinion, would have been a better ability to give this, or Double Strike would have been a great ability. Just coupling that with the +1/-1 ability, being able to deal 5 damage, then double striking it and making you be able to do 10 damage. That might have been a little overpowered for 3 mana, but at the end of the day, still a great card. Use it. If you open it, this will push you into white. Tandem Tactics is next. This is another good card, especially for those that are going wide strategies. This is a 1 white, 1 generic instant at common. Up to 2 target creatures each get +1/+2 until end of turn. You gain 2 life. Keep in mind that the 2 creatures do not have to be controlled by yourself. You can target your partner's creatures. You can target one of each, whatever you need to do. So that's kind of fun. Megara of Corando is 3 mana, 1 generic and 2 white, rare 1/1. You can tap him, exile him, and then exile target permanent, and they're just gone. It's a great removal spell. It's a little bit slow because obviously you have to play him and then wait a turn, unless you have a way to give him haste, of course. So your opponents see it coming. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I would play this on turn 3 or not, because you got there's a couple different scenarios, right? So if you play this on turn 3 and you don't have anything to remove on turn 4, obviously your opponent's not going to play something down without being able to interact with this thing, right? So they're not going to play their bomb 4-drop and then turn around and pass the turn and allow you to exile it. That's not going to happen. So they're going to try and find that removal spell first and force you to exile him and kill some, exile permanent. So you could take down one of their lands, worst case scenario, set them a turn back. But this might be a great card to play like after they play their rare or their bomb finisher or whatever, and try to hold out one extra turn with this card. Or find a way to give it haste. Either way. So at the end of the day, if you open it, great. If not, then, not that bad. Next up, we've got blue. We've got Spellweaver Duo, 4/4 for 7 mana. That's 6 colorless, 1 blue. It does have assist, though. So there's assist for you. So you can pay for the 6 colorless mana, you and your partner, or actually any player for that matter. When the duo enters the battlefield, you may return target tapped creature to its owner's hand. Not too bad. A little on the pricey side, but if you can get your partner to chip in like 3 or 4 mana for that, that's not a bad rate. Mystic Confluence is next. 3 generic, 2 blue for rare instant. You can choose 3. And it's got like a mode spell here. And you may choose the same mode more than once. So you can counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Return target creature to its owner's hand or draw a card. So this isn't that bad. 5 mana for 3 cards. That's not too hateful. Bouncing a creature to its owner's hand isn't that bad, especially with some of these enter the battlefield effects on you and your teammate's hand. You might be able to do that, like bounce one of their creatures, draw 2 cards. Not too bad. Keeping this up for counterspell magic is probably on the rough side since you're paying 5 mana. That's a lot to leave up. Keep in mind, though, it is instant, so it's instant speed draw. So, if you're turn 5, turn 6, and, you've waited, to counter that spell, just maybe you don't wait anymore and just draw the cards and keep the game moving. Arcane Artisan is next. It's a mythic rare for 3 mana, 1 blue, 2 generic. For an 0/3, it's a human wizard. It's got an activated ability of 1 blue, 2 generic tap. Target player draws a card, then exiles a card from their hand. If a creature card is exiled this way, that player creates a token of the copy of that card. And then when Arcane Artisan leaves the battlefield, exile all tokens created with it at the beginning of the next end step. So, it's a fun card. It's one of those big splashy blue cards. Dropping this on turn 3 and then having it die is going to, immediately is going to make you feel bad. But if you can untap with her, target player draws a card, and then you exile a card, and you get a copy of that spell. Then you need to go into protection mode. So you want to play this. If you play this on turn 3, then obviously you need to have a way to protect her so that you don't lose out on the spell the creature you exiled and her at the same time. So, it could be a lot of fun to play. Last up with blue, we've got, and this is hilarious. I'm gonna call this Zender Splits Judgment. It's 4 generic, 1 blue, sorcery at rare. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend creates a token that's a copy of a creature they control. Each foe returns a creature they control to its owner's hand. So I wish it was targeted bounce. That way you can remove their best thing versus each foe returns a creature they control to its owner's hand versus them picking what gets bounced back to their hand. This card is bad. I'm not going to lie. Even though you and your teammate are creating tokens, like we've already said in this episode alone and the couple episodes prior to this, there are enough enter the battlefield effects that make this bad. So don't fall into this trap. Do not fall into this trap because you're going to be sitting on this is going to be sitting in your hand. You're going to have the 5 mana. You're going to have this awesome creature, but your opponent's going to have this enter the battlefield effect that exactly, they're going to choose that, and you're going to get that same feeling that you got a few turns earlier when that happened. So do yourself a favor, don't play this card. Unless you have a 10/10 that you can make a copy of and attack with it immediately, don't do this card. Don't use this card. It's a trap. It's trap. All right, moving on to red, we've got Najeela, the Blade Blossom. This is a 3/2 for 3 mana, 1 red, 2 generic, legendary creature, human warrior at mythic rare. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. Keyword to remember, whenever a warrior, right? So you're attacking with, let's see here, so you may have its controller create a 1/1, so you're only creating 1, right? When you have a warrior, so whether it's counting whether you're attacking with 1 or you're attacking with 5. 1 warrior has attacked, you may create a 1/1 white warrior token. So don't read into that like it's this, holy cow, I'm attacking with 5 and now I'm attacking with 5 more. No, you're attacking with 5 and now you're attacking with 1 more. So that's a key thing to remember there. Now you can also pay 5 mana, 1 of each color, white, blue, black, red, green. Untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat. So, now it doesn't say only activate this ability once. So, in theory, if you've got enough mana to do this twice, you can attack multiple times. The lifelink's great, the trample's great, haste is okay, right? I mean, if you've got creatures that you've put down that turn, they can attack in the second attack step and the third, and so on and so forth in that fashion. So, haste is okay, trample's good, lifelink's good. The nice thing about this card is she doesn't have to attack. Now, there's some cards in this set that you have to really pay attention because some of them require this creature to attack, and like this one, some of them don't. So you can have her on the battlefield just kind of sitting back and relaxing and let all the goblins, all your warriors, all your knights, all those guys attack in, untap them. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste, and then attack in again. So obviously, it's a mythic rare, so you're not going to get it in. You're not going to see it often. But if you do see it, limited format, 4-5 colors, it's going to be a little on the rough side. You're going to want to play some green. There's a few red spells that allow you to add additional mana to your mana pool. There's some untapping spells and things like that. So this is a hard card for me to justify to, playing a 5-color deck is rough. It really is. But if you've got the mana support, it might be worth it. You never know. Going wide, you never know. Next up, we've got bonus round. This is 2 red, 1 generic for a rare sorcery. Until end of turn, whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, that player copies it and may choose new targets. Pretty straightforward. Not the best spell, but again, to make it work, you have to have a lot of instants and sorceries, and you got to have a lot that are low enough cost that you'd want to cast multiple times for 3 extra mana. So, you're not really getting anything in, if you're casting something that costs you 3, you're getting a duplication of that spell, but it's just not, you have to have this card and that spell in your hand at the same time to make it work. So this is a trap as well. Don't play that card. Moving on to black, we've got Bloodborne Scoundrels. This is 4/4 for 6 mana, 1 black, 5 generic, common, vampire rogue. It's got an assist, so your other players can help you pay for it, although I doubt your opponents will help you pay for it. Your partner will, I'm assuming, if you've chosen your partner, carefully. When they enter the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. So it just drains them for 2. Nothing special. Doesn't have evasion or anything like that. It's a vampire, which you'd think. I mean, in the picture, she's carrying 2 swords and things like that. So you'd think she'd have some extra, ability. Maybe Death Touch would be in there, but a 4/4 Death Touch really is, kind of pointless at that point. But you never know. Moving on, we've got Thrilling Encore. This is 5 mana, 1 black, 4 generic. At a rare instant, put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Limited, this is just, this really... Two-headed giant isn't really going to be a big thing till the very last couple turns. Commander, this is going to be a lot of fun to play with. It's instant speed, so you can, you got 5 mana, you just leave it up, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, and all of a sudden, someone wraths the board, and you're like, awesome, I'll take that, all that, and this, all on my side, and now you've become the target enemy number 1. So, Thrilling Encore, commander card, most likely skip it in sealed two-headed giant. Saddleback Lagak is next in green. 3/1 for 3 generic, 1 green. It's a lizard at common. When it enters the battlefield, support 2. So you get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 other target creatures. So for this to be beneficial at its fullest capacity, you have to have 2 other creatures in the battlefield or on the battlefield when it enters the battlefield. Otherwise, you're getting a 3/1 for 4 mana, which is garbage, absolute garbage. And if you think about it, in turn 4, turn 1, you're probably not playing anything. Turn 2, you're playing some sort of bear 2/2 thing. And then turn 3, you're playing something that's slightly larger than that. So this making those turn 2 and turn 3 creatures slightly bigger might be good in the early game if you curve into it. But this is, again, this isn't a great card. Unless you have a low enough curve to where you can curve into this and you'll have 2 targets at that time. The recursion ability is if you've got blue bounce that you could potentially see some use case scenarios in casting it multiple times later in the game to kind of improve your 2 and 3 and 4 drops as they come into play. It's okay. You're not happy to play it, but you will. Combo attacks next. It's 3 mana. It'd be 1 green, 2 generic. Sorcery at common. 2 target creatures your team controls. Each deal damage equal to their power to target creature. So this is kind of like a one-way fight for you and your teammates. So that's fantastic. So you don't have to have the creatures. So kind of like Saddleback Lagak, where you have to have the creatures. This one, your partner can have them. So, and they each deal damage to a creature of their choice. So, at the end of the day, it's a great removal spell. Absolutely wonderful removal spell. And last up, in the colored spells, we have Azara Odds Maker. This is a fantastic card. I really, really want to play with this. This makes me want to go into red-black like right away. Turn 1, pick it up. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with. So it's 1 black, 1 red, 1 generic. At looks like uncommon for a 3/3 Azora Warrior. It says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, choose a creature. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw 2 cards. This card is, first of all, it's a 3/3 for 3 mana, so that's not too bad. Second of all, if you've got any type of flyer or creature with evasion that you know is going to hit, this is just pure card advantage, right? You discard the worst card possible, and you draw 2 cards, and chances are, next turn, you're going to be able to discard one of those cards and draw 2 more cards. So this is a great card. They could have easily costed this at 4 or made this like a 3-1 or something, or 3-2 or something like that, to make it, susceptible to those other, those minus abilities or the shocks of the world and things like that. But no, this is a pushed card. If you open this will push you into black, push you into red. If you're not in black and red, and this will push you into splashing for one of the two colors. But yeah, lots of fun to play with. Next up, we have Archon of Valor's Reach. This is a 5/6 at rare for 6 mana. That's 1 white, 1 green, and 4 generic. It has flying, it has vigilance, it has trample. But wait, there's more. As it enters the battlefield, you get to choose artifact, enchantment, instant, sorcery, or planeswalker. Okay? Players, keyword there is players, can't cast spells of the chosen type. So you, your partner, your opponents cannot cast spells of those types. I'll repeat that again. Artifacts, enchantments, instants, sorceries, and planeswalkers. Now, let's be real here. 6 mana for a 5/6 flying vigilance trampler. I mean, trample aside, flying and vigilance that's a clock, right? You've got a huge attacker, quarter of someone's life. Well, two-headed giant, not really a quarter, so much, but a good chunk of their life. It's got vigilance, so it blocks. It's got evasion, so it blocks well. It's got trample, which is just cake, right? That means they can't block with their 1/1 flyers or their 2/2 drakes or whatever. But that extra ability is extra spicy. And I kind of broke down some numbers for you guys. So in the set, we have a total of 2 planeswalkers. They're both mythic. You've got 30 instants, 27 of which are common or uncommon. You have 30 sorceries, which 20 of those are common or uncommon. You have 20 artifacts, which 16 of those are common or uncommon. And you've got 19 enchantments, with 12 of those being common or uncommon. So the name of the game here, if you want to play a numbers game, you're going to want to choose instants, because you've got the most opportunity to hit there. 27 out of 30 instants are common or uncommon, so you have the best chance to hit there. Plus, it's the most of the, between it and sorceries are the most of those types of cards. So even if they had some mythic rares and rare source or instants, you're still going to hit those. But you obviously they're not creature is not a choice here, so so you can't stop people from playing creatures. But instant speed removal is definitely a thing. So there's incentive to choose instant. This is kind of like it's hilarious because this is kind of like an anti build around me card. So, like, you want to have as few, like, whatever you're going to choose, you want to have as few of those in your deck as possible, so you don't screw you or your partner over. But again, just because, like, if you're going to choose instants, that doesn't mean don't play any instants, because, obviously you're not going to have this out in every game. But it's a rare, so you're not going to see it very often. But I just thought it was a cute, fun build-around-me card. I mean, between the 2 cards on screen now, I like the Odds Maker better, just because I like drawing cards. Locking people out of playing Magic really isn't my style of play, but there are people that really like doing that, and this will really speak to them. So, and on top of that, I mean, even if with the Valor Reach creature, you're still getting an excellent creature, even without that middle ability, right? Flying, Vigilance, Trample, 5/6 for 6 mana is, that's deadly. So. And then we got our artifacts left. We've got, and I'm going to butcher this name, Mycosith Lattice, I think is how you say that. It's a 6 mana mythic rare artifact. All permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types. All cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells, and permanents are colorless. Players may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So, yeah. This is a weird card is not for two-headed giant. This is definitely for commander, for those players wanting to be extra splashy, let's say. Mind's Eye is next. It's a 5 mana rare artifact. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may pay 1. If you do, you get to draw a card too. This is a great card in Limited, only because you're drawing twice as many cards. You're getting through your deck extra fast. You just have to get that first initial payment. That 5 mana is huge. If you can develop your board early and take a turn off by playing this, obviously you don't want to play this on turn 5. Make sure you don't do that. Play this on turn 6. That way you have the extra mana set up so that when you pass the turn and they go to draw a card, you can pay 1 and draw the card as well. So do not make the rookie mistake and play this on turn 5. Play this on turn 6 and you'll be extra happy because you'll be getting those cards extra turn. And in fact, you could actually wait to play this on turn 7 if you want to be fancy about it, because it says whenever an opponent draws a card in your two-headed giant games, you can actually pay 2 and then draw 2 cards. So if you want to be extra fancy, you can wait 1 extra turn. But at the end of the game, drawing those cards is going to win you more matches than it's going to cost you. So take a turn off, play this card. It'll be fun, I promise. Victory Chimes is next. It is 3 generic for a rare. Untap Victory Chimes during each other player's untap step. So you still untap it during your own untap step, but it untaps during everybody's. And you can tap it, and a player of your choice adds 1 colorless mana. Chances are you're going to give it to you or your teammate. I don't know why you would give this to your opponents, but hey, you never know. There's still play groups out there that play with mana burn, so that's possibly a thing. So avoid this card if at all possible. All right, guys, that is our episode for today. I really appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of the series. What do you think about the set? Are you happy about this? There was a lot of speculation, a lot of kind of pushback with this type of supplementary product with a format that's not really widely as accepted as other, like draft and conspiracy and things like that. So I'm really kind of curious to see how many of you guys are really pumped up for this set. There's some really awesome reprints in there for you older players and casual players. Obviously this isn't going into standard, so there isn't anything for the standard players, but it is going to be an interesting limited format to say the least. Make sure you tune into our Magic podcast called Mana Drain. That goes live every Monday evening on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/72DPI online. Really appreciate a follow or a sub there. And then make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/72DPI online. Again, we really appreciate you guys' feedback and your support. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great night.